I said to the doctor, I've broken my arm in 2 places. And he said, you probably shouldn't go to those places anymore. This is Across the Table, the podcast of Hannibal the Magician. In the immortal and immoral words of Iggy Pop, I cry for love until my eyes are soaking. Hi and welcome. Welcome to Across the Table. I'm Hannibal, and here we are again. And I'm glad you're here. I'm really glad you're here, and I want to hear from you. It's been a hell of a week. A lot of changes. You know what? That's not exactly true. Nothing's really changed, but we're becoming more aware. I think that's the thing. We're becoming a lot more aware of what our neighbors and what our, what people we see every day, what they're actually thinking and what they're actually like. And for some reason, and I'm not one to sit here and politically point fingers, but for some reason they feel a lot more open now to open themselves up and put themselves out there and let us know, let me know, let you know what they think. And that's always a good thing. It's great to know what a person's heart is, but I guess I shouldn't be surprised by how dark some people's hearts are, and it's left me reeling a little bit. Even friends that I perhaps thought in completely different ways have shown me that they are intolerant, or I don't know. Hi, I'm Hannibal. I'm still Hannibal. Let me get the business stuff out of the way. There's things I want to talk about. Well, obviously I wouldn't have this what has it been called? This narcissistic broadcast if I didn't have something to say. And I didn't, and I didn't have something to write, I wouldn't have the blog. And if I didn't have, et cetera, et cetera. People have seen fit to give me platforms. And sometimes I do card tricks, and sometimes I speak my mind, and sometimes I do both. And I think my philosophy for this turning era is that I've done a lot of hiding of exactly what my feelings are on some things for varying reasons, all of which I felt were sound. But if you're going to show me how dark and bitter your hatred and your anger is, then by God, I'm not going to sit back and hide the love that I have for people and humanity and my life in general. I'm just not going to do it anymore. I'm going to be angry in my passion. I'm going to be, if I am dismayed, I'm going to let you know. But I'm speaking from a position of, I believe that love wins, but I don't think it has a strong enough voice lately. Hi, I'm Hannibal. Welcome to my podcast. I hope there's still somebody listening. Hey, you know what? That's a thing. And let me address this right off the top. I am very grateful for every single one of you that listens to the cast. And I'm going to tell you, they tell you when you start these things off, and this is our 7th episode, they tell you not to look at the numbers. They don't. You shouldn't look to see how many people are listening to each of your shows. And there's data that I can see, who listen, not specifically who listens, but how many people listen to the whole thing, or how long the average listener listens to the show. And by far and away, most of you listen to most of it, if not all of it. And I'm really grateful for that. What I need from you, and I know I ask a lot of you already, but what I need is when you're done listening, or even whether you turn it off halfway through or listen to the whole thing, or get disgusted and throw your hands up and say you're never going to listen again, send me some feedback. Leave me some notes. Let me know what you thought, even if it's just a couple of words. Just a couple of words. Let me know how I'm doing. Let me know that you did listen and maybe you got something out of it, or maybe it's just that you like the sound of my voice and it helps me to nap. Whatever it is. I know I've got a fairly decent voice for this kind of a thing. But let me know. Every platform that this is put on, there's a comment section, whether it's iTunes, whether it's Sound Cave, that's not right, SoundCloud, or Blueberry, or whatever, whatever you listen to this. leave me a message. Send me a personal email, info@chrishannibal.com. If you want to do it anonymously, do it to the Sahara thing. I don't even know how to pronounce that, but I have one to get feedback from, and mine is sahara.com/magicartist. Almost anything that any forum you want to find me on, you add magic artist to it and you got it. Send me feedback on Facebook, whatever it takes. I'd really like to hear from you. Make suggestions about things you'd like to hear about, topics you'd like for me to discuss, things you don't want me to talk about anymore. I'll take that under advisement. You're probably going to not be pleased with my answer on it, but I will listen. I need to hear from you. I want this to be more of a relationship than it currently is. I do this alone. I sit here in my office and I talk into a microphone, staring at the recording device that is tracking my voice and keeping track of time and everything else. But I know there are people listening, and a couple of you have taken a few moments to give me feedback, and I really do appreciate that. I didn't start my business. I didn't start magic and performing with the notion of changing anybody's mind or changing anybody's life, but that's certainly what it has evolved into. And again, I'm going to use the word grateful. I'm really grateful, and I have a huge amount of gratitude for the role that I have been put into in my life, or the way things came up and the choices that I made. I could not be more grateful to be where I am right now. This show is sponsored by, inspired by, and emotionally tied to you. There's no you, there's no me. If you stop listening, I probably won't stop recording or writing, because I've done that forever. It's only in the past few years that I've actually found an audience for my voice, whether it's on paper or on the screen or on here. But it is sponsored by you, and it enables me, the funding that I get enables me to be able to do these things. In addition to doing card tricks and doing the job that I do, this allows me to do more public ventures, more giving to the community, being able to give of my time to charities like MDA and some of the work that I do with USO. And USO pays me to be there, which is awesome. But I'd love to be able to do more for them as a charity event. Something that's just close to my heart. Those are my two big charities, are the MDA and the USO. I may have even mentioned this on the program before, but since I was a kid, watching some of the old footage of Bob Hope entertaining troops overseas and things like that, it's honestly been a dream of mine since I stepped on stage to be able to do something like that. For that matter, listening to Johnny Cash, who was always on in my grandparents' house or my parents' house when I was coming up, and the shows he did in prisons that he became famous for taking it to people that needed the entertainment. These are the kind of things I want to do the most, and I need your help. I absolutely need your help, and anyone who is listening to this, $5 a month is the commitment that I'm asking for those of you listening. And it's the Patreon account. It's patreon.com/magicartist. If you're unsure of how to put that in, send me a message. I'll send you a direct link. I know things are tough. I know times are tough around. And if you absolutely can't afford it, there's no demands on it. Nobody is demanding that you do anything. Just like busking in the streets, it's voluntary. If you want to put a little into my hat, that's how I look at it. It's the same as I am providing you a show. I'm providing you my input. I hope I make it funny sometimes. I certainly speak from my heart all the time. But if you enjoy it, drop a little in the hat. That's all I'm asking. Patreon.com/magicartist. That's where I'm coming from. If you like this, I also have a YouTube channel where I do I occasionally release footage from shows that I've done. There's a bunch of it, man. My video editor's gotten so busy he's unable to do it lately, and I can't hold that against him because I'm not paying him yet. But there's a ton of footage from the Petra's shows over the past few months that I really want to get up and in public. And if I can scrape together that and maybe give him some money to help incentivize him to get some of those things to me. But regardless, I know he'll do it when he has the time. And those things will be coming up. But check on YouTube, do a search for Hannibal Magician or Hannibal the Magician, and you'll get a ton of it. And subscribe to the channel. It's Hannibal Group is the channel on YouTube if you're searching around for it. Like it, subscribe it. It helps more than you know. Just to have that subscription there, and I know the things I put up are worthwhile because I'm my own harshest self-critic. So thanks for being a part of it and being along for this ride. When I started off the program, I said that a lot of things in the world changed over the course of this past week, and that applied to me as well. And then I hedged that with that's not exactly true, because while certain things came to light, nothing really absolutely changed. In the mail this week, I received my final divorce papers. Came in a very simple, nondescript envelope, a nice cover letter saying, this is what this is, and then a copy of the court order severing my marriage, cutting it off completely. And if I added up the days, I added up how long I was officially married. It was 29 years and 17 days, and holy cow, isn't that appropriate? That's just that's my life. For those of you who don't know, 17 is I can call it a lucky number, but a number that pops up in my life every once in a while. And if you believe in that sort of woo, and occasionally I can't help but believe in that sort of woo, it's a lucky number. It's a life number, 17. Since I can remember, like 10, 11 years old, it just seemed to pop up in my life again. So my marriage to Dawn lasted for 29 years and 17 days officially. And while that didn't physically change anything significant in my life, because she has been out of my life for the greater part of 2 of those years, more than 2 of those years, it struck something. It was a final toll. It was a final bell on an event that took up more than half of my life, a great portion of my life. And I'm going to tell you straight up, it was amazing. It was a great, solid, loving, caring, nurturing marriage. And we have, 4 kids. And I was talking with a friend today, Ted, one of my oldest friends in the world, Ted, who is he has seen me go through a ton of shit, and I have watched him go through some horrific life events, and we've been there for each other, which is what friends do, through all of it, and we've maintained our friendship through all of it, even to the point of we had a complete difference of opinion on how things. When we worked together back at the very beginning of all this, I know I've talked about this before, but Ted and I worked together at the job that birthed Hannibal the Magician back at New Heritage, USA, back in 1992. And when that ended, my inclination and my prayer and my study was to move forward in the entertainment industry. And Ted initially worked with kids. He worked with children. And Ted, that's his own story. There's a whole bunch of stuff there, and his reasons behind it were absolutely sound. But we had a disagreement of things. He worked with kids, and he worked with did what he did, and the thing that he loved, and he chose to not keep doing it. And as I recall, we had a real big difference of opinion on it, but we maintained our friendship for I knew Ted before New Heritage, so I'm thinking, close to 25 years for our friendship there, and it's been amazing. But I was talking to him today. Look at me drifting off point. How novel is that? And Ted remarked that anytime he came over to our house, and our door was always open to him, anytime he came over to our house, we were a unit. Even if we were disagreeing on things, we had love in the house. We would cook together. We would, I would be out on the grill or making sure that those things were done while Dawn and the kids were doing the inside things, and we played video games together, and we played board games together, and we laughed and cried, and we were tight. And it ended. And it ended before I noticed. And being who I am, I blame myself for a lot of it, but not for the reasons that I got blamed, or not for the reasons that were given to me. Why suddenly I was too hard to live with. So all those things came rushing back with this piece of paper, and while nothing, other than an official piece of paper, nothing in my world changes, it was like the final locking of the door, and that hurt. And I got it out of the mail on my way to the grocery store, and I read it, and I put it aside, and I kind of thought about it for a little while, and I went and did my grocery shopping, and it didn't really hit me till I'd packed the car up, and I sat in the car, and I picked it up again and read it through again, and I just had a long breakdown in the parking lot at Harris Teeter, and I cried for a long time to myself, because there are some things you call your friends for, and there's some things that you suffer alone. And this one felt like this is a moment that I had to nurture for myself. So I did. And afterwards, in the aftermath of all that, and taking, cleaning myself up and getting back home and unpacking the groceries and taking care of all of those things, I came to realize that I don't have a close friend anymore that I could share that with, or that I could write or talk to or call up and say. I mean, yeah, there are people I could call up and see, but I feel like I've had so much help, and I've had so many friends that have been there and held their hands out to me and lifted me up over the past 2 years, that I get to the point where it's like, man, I don't want to bother you with it anymore. I don't want to tell you that. I don't want to sing you the same song over again just because this piece of paper came out. So I took a photograph of it, and I posted it up in a couple of places where people that I knew would see, and a couple of people reached out, and that was nice. But that's where that sits. And like I said, it changed my world. It changed my label, I guess, but it didn't change anything in reality. I didn't suddenly grow taller. I didn't suddenly lose weight. I didn't suddenly change my philosophies on everything else. I didn't. One of my friends that called, or one of the friends that texted me, said something along the fact of, well, now you're officially single and everything's changed. I'm thinking, no, it really hasn't. I haven't been out looking to date or get into a relationship. I don't feel like starting something like that over again. I don't, I get lonely, and I deal with that, and mostly I turn to creativity, or I turn to work, or I turn to writing. And I do wish there was somebody there to, face-to-face talk to, or talk to when I come home about how shows went or something. And I miss that an awful lot, but I don't want to go through the process of starting something else up again. it's not. I mean, it's going to take some time, and that's natural, and that's healthy, and that's okay. So I have my official piece of paper, and my marriage is officially over, and I go through different phases of how I feel about that. And more than anything, I mean, if I'm going to be honest with you, and trust me when I tell you that from this point forward, the things that I have been holding back in the previous 6 episodes, that's going out the window, because it's way too important now to be honest with you about who I am and what I'm about. You've always known who I am. I've never been dishonest with you about that, but there are things I don't say that I'm going to start saying. So, more than anything else, from this point onward in my life and in Dawn's life, is I sincerely hope she finds happiness. I hope she's found it already, to be honest with you. I hope that the damage that I've done, that I did, however I did it, fades, and that she's able to pick up and move on and find happiness and find joy and find, and have a great life. And I wish that for the children as well. I've been the villain. I've been the bad guy in their eyes, for most of them. And I hope they can get over that. I hope that at some point they want to reestablish contact and relationship with me. I can't imagine it'll ever be anything like it ever was in the past, but I certainly don't want them out of my life, completely. But they're grown-ups, and it's up to them to decide if and how much they want me in their lives, and I'm just hoping for the best as far as that goes. So that's my big personal news for the week. I also I haven't talked about, at least on here, I haven't talked about the saga with Megan, my best friend. I referred to her as my best friend for a good part of 3 years. She helped me through the roughest parts of the initial part of the divorce, and she's out chasing her dreams now, which is phenomenal, and I wish her the best on that. And because of trying to protect myself, trying to protect my own heart, trying to get back into some phase of normal, I had to end that friendship. I had to walk away, and I will speak of that in length and in depth when I'm able in future podcasts. Ask about it if you'd like. I'll be happy to tell you, and I will tell you the truth. There are things that are her business that I won't talk about. But as far as things that have affected me and the way that I felt and the things that I viewed, that I will. But for personal reasons and things that I'll tell you about in the future, I decided in April that to stop getting hurt, to stop being hurt, to end the constant yo-yo that she was handing me back and forth and up and down, and I'm your friend, and I want to be closer, but no, I don't want to be that close, and et cetera, and everything else that happened. I ended it, and I said my goodbyes, and I didn't want to hurt her anymore either from my reactions to things, which were not always normal and healthy, because God knows the crap that I've been through for the past 3.5 years now have left me pretty shaken and pretty unstable. And yes, I have therapy for that now, thank God. And yes, I'm taking care of myself in healthy ways. And yes, I'm looking after my own psyche. And yes, I have to look after my own heart. And that meant that I had to break the cycle. And breaking the cycle meant breaking up, letting her go, live her own life, live it in her healthy, normal way that she does, let her be herself, and let me be myself. And took off, I blocked her from me I so that I wouldn't constantly be looking or checking up and making sure she was okay. I just have to trust that she will be because she's strong and capable. But I blocked her from all social media, and I didn't look. The temptation was there to peek and to look, but it would only be hurtful for me, regardless of how things were, because we were very close, and we shared a lot of personal things between us. We were never a partnership. We were never a couple. We were friends. We were best friends for a while. And I'll hold on to those memories, but the world turns and it moves on, and I couldn't continue to hurt myself by what I perceived as a very cavalier, very, I can't think of the right word, of non-caring. Plan B, I was made to feel like I would, I will be your friend when it's convenient for me, is the way it came off to me. And I didn't like being just the convenience anymore. That's the honest truth of it. But she was back in town. I let her store some things in my house. I didn't let her store. I invited her to store some of her things in my house when she had her breakup last year. She had a tight turnaround on her performance in the road, and I offered the space, and it just became time when she was going to be in town. I thought, it's time to clear the things out, not the least of which is I'm going to be vacating this house soon myself, moving on to different things. And I asked her, I made contact, and I asked her when would be a convenient time in the week that she was here to move some things out. And we was very cordial, it was very polite. We agreed on a day. I agreed to be, I just made myself scarce. I didn't want there to be any kind of awkwardness or confrontation or anything like that. And there wasn't a whole lot to move. So she gathered some friends, and I went off and ran some errands, and in the space of just a couple of hours, she cleared her things out. And me being who I am, and because she was close, I asked if she wanted to talk, have dinner, sit down across a table like I do, and see if we couldn't salvage something, see if there wasn't some way we could do it. And she agreed to that, and we spoke. We met for Chinese food, and we spoke for, I'm going to say, a good 4 or 5 hours about just, catching up on the past 4 months, and sharing hurts, and sharing, how she felt and how I felt, and the distance was just too great. And over the next couple of days, I was traveling a little bit, and I have certain expectations of friendship, or at least the kind of closeness we were talking about, if we were still going to refer to each other as best friends, if we were going to try to save and salvage and fix the things that were broken, because, man, I'd rather fix something than abandon it. I had the impression that maybe we could. That's the way we left the conversation on Wednesday night. And she didn't call, and she didn't, any texting that was done, I had to initiate it. And I know she was busy, and I know she had a bunch of things to do, but if I'm throwing my caring out, if there's, you gotta talk to me. You got, if you need something, if you need someone to help you through troubled times, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be the stand-up guy for you. That's just my makeup. Whatever has happened, I'm approachable. But there has to be, it's at a point in my life where I will come a long way. I will come 3/4 of the way if you'll reach out the extra quarter, if you'll, just a little bit from your side. But it didn't happen. Maybe it's the time. Maybe I've just, walked away too many times, or not been good enough friend too many times, or broken her heart, in her words, in too many times. But for whatever reason, there was very little, if any, response. So at the end of 4 days, I I broke it off again. I for good. I cannot do all the work myself, not with everything else that's going on. And don't, from my own defense, I know she's got a bunch going on too, but that's what friends do. It's like I said with Ted. Yeah, there's stuff that goes on. Yes, there's hard times that happen, but if you're going to call yourselves friends, especially if you're going to label yourselves as best friends, it's got to be a capacity from both directions. And I just could not, for my own sake, could not be the one doing it all anymore. So I gave it a chance. I gave it, at least I feel like I did. And I cut it all off again. I sent her a note saying pretty much what I just said there, and that was the end of it. Again, I don't wish her any ill will. I will never say a negative thing about her. As far as all that goes, we had a happy friendship. We made some great art for a while there. We used to text 100 times a day back and forth. Just here's an idea, or what are you up to, or how's your heart? How are you feeling? And helped each other through some really rough times. So it was great, and I feel like I hope that she feels that she is better off now than she was when we first met. I hope she feels stronger. I hope she feels more capable in and of herself to do what she does. And I hope that she finds happiness. I genuinely hope that she is successful in her endeavors and what she's trying to do. She's out trying to make a living doing art, and that's great. I wholeheartedly endorse that. If that's what your heart and your ability to do, you should absolutely be doing it. So that friendship, which had already come to an end, came to a more complete end, and my house is way more empty than it was. My plan is, after the beginning of the year, I'm moving to Los Angeles. I'd like to, if I can swing it, if I can find the right way, I'd like to be very close to the castle so that I can be on a rotation there more often, network more often, get my performance in front of more people more often. The corporate end of it, of course, is taking care of itself, and as long as I have an airport nearby, and as long as I market myself the right way, that will pay my bills, hopefully. But I'd really like to be involved more. I'm getting to a phase in my life where I'm entering a more mentorship state of mind, where I'd like to be able to impart some of the things that I've learned over the past 24 years of full-time magicianship. So I'm going to try it in L.A. Fresh start, brand new, not brand new Hannibal, because, Hannibal is Hannibal, but new venues, new faces, new experiences, and we'll try that. Speaking of which, here's a nice segue. Ted made a suggestion. We were talking earlier today, and there's a YouTube channel that we both like, Screen Junkies, and in some of their programs, these subscribers ask the narrator, who's got a great voice, to say certain things. And Ted said, I'm going to send you a text of some things, and I want you to read them in your dulcet tones for the podcast. And you know what? I think it's a great idea, and I don't want it to stop with just Ted. So if you have things you'd like to hear me say, and you're a Patreon supporter, if you're a patron on my Patreon supporter, I'm going to put this in with the excuse me, with the $5 and up crowd. You got something you want me to say, I will say it via the podcast, and the people that listen, which is a not unhealthy amount of people who actually listen to my voice, will hear me say whatever it is you want me to say. Now, if you want me to advertise your business, if you want me to advertise your product, if you just want me to say something silly, whatever you send me, hey, Hannibal, say this on your podcast, it's going out. I will read it exactly the way you sent it to me. Ted, my friend Ted, is moving to Oklahoma, and one of the things he is considering is raising goats. So he sent this following text to be read via podcast. How to breed. There are several options for breeding, each with its own advantages and disadvantages. Factors to consider include the number of goats owned, proximity to the buck's residence, type of commercial operation, and whether or not the breeder needs to know exact breeding dates. You may find yourself using a combination of methods. That is from the book How to Raise Goats, Everything You Need to Know by Carol Amundsen. That's Amundson. Carol Amundsen. If you would like to have your ad, blurb, series of words, one after the other, read by me over the air of the podcast, and you are a contributor to the Patreon page of $5 or more per month, send me your things. I will do it every week. Whatever you decide each week, I will put it out in the air, because doggone it, it's fun. And why not, right? Cool. Let's do that thing. Let's make that a regular feature. Perhaps I should do it closer. If I put it closer to the beginning of the show, people will be able to get to it a lot sooner. But if I put it closer to the end of the show, maybe people will actually listen longer, waiting to hear the things that get said out loud. Which would be the better way to go? I don't know. Your feedback is always welcome. Let me know what you want to say. I think maybe we'll distribute them throughout the show. Some at the beginning, some in the middle, one in the end. It depends on how many I get, really, I guess. Maybe I should limit it. I don't know. Let's see what happens. Send me your sayings. Yeah, let's do that. I am toying with the idea, and I honestly do not know yet which way I'm going to go with it. But I have the regular monthly Monday Magic coming up on September the 4th, and I'm going to have, I should have had this pulled up before I mentioned it, but I'm going to have two guest artists, a pair of ladies working together, one of whom is Nikki Redman, who has been involved with the Hannibal show for a number of years via music or via openings or via, any number of things. She's been a friend and a supporter and a co-artist for years and years. Her and Leah Palmer-Licht have both been there for me for a lot of things. But coming up on September 4th, and I want to get the names right, so pardon me for a second while I pull it up. Nikki and Heather Himes are going to be opening my show on the 4th at Petra's. As always, doors at 8. Show approximately 8:30, though I generally start doing the This Is Not a Show part around 8:15 or so. But then Heather Himes and Nikki Redman are going to be performing to open the show. And I haven't heard them, but I know the kind of taste that Nikki has in music and the way she performs her art. So I have full confidence that it's going to be a great show. So if you're in the Charlotte area or within hailing distance of the Charlotte area, come out and see us. It's going to be intense and awesome. And I'm toying with the idea of making this a special version of the Naked Truth show. In the past, it has been about personal image and personal, fears and things like that. And holy cats, boys and girls, don't we live in a world right now where fear seems to be trying to take over? So it occurred to me last night while attending a burlesque show for a friend, in order to support a friend, that maybe we switch it up a little bit. Maybe I do a Naked Truth show and I strip down and invite people to write what it is right now that they're afraid of and put that aside for a couple of days. There's anger and there's division and there's all kinds of things happening in the world and Some people are taking it really personally, and maybe I can offer a way to let go of that for a day or two, and maybe that would help someone. I don't know. I'm kind of going back and forth on it, and maybe I need to keep it the way it is. But a big part of my heart's telling me that maybe I could do some good. I'll think about it. I'll let you know. Watch the usual places. But yeah, September 4th at Petra's, there will be a show. It'll be awesome, regardless of whether I'm naked or not. I will bring you some great magic, and the music of Heather Himes and Nikki Redmond is going to be spectacular, and we'll have ourselves a great time. There will be laughter. There will be joyous rejoicing, and we will find a little joy in a dark world. How about that? At the very least, I can promise you that. Before that, coming up on Wednesday, and I believe, I don't have the thing in front of me right now, but I believe this show is sold out. I'm doing a dinner theater on Wednesday, the 23rd of August, for Aix-en-Provence, which is on Providence Road next to the Manor Theater, fine French restaurant. We're doing a dinner theater with great wine and food and magic, and the music of Nikki Redmond and Leah Palmer-Licht, who's they're going to provide stringed music for the dinner portion. So come see me with that. I have contracted again to work with Festival in the Park in mid to late September, kind of late September, and it's been a few years since I've had the motivation, I've had the drive, the will to get out and do the thing. For a while there, it was very, very difficult for me to even get up and go perform some days, and I missed some things that I could have done. Festival in the Park is something that I do for free. They don't charge me for the space, and I don't charge them for the show. I basically put it out there for anybody that stops by. We're doing an odd form of busking where I have a stage, and I have a staging area, which is a beautiful little shady grove. It tends to be still kind of hot in early September, mid-September here in the Charlotte area. It gets rainy sometimes. I could tell you some stories. But we have a nice little shaded grove with seats and everything else. People can come in and sit down. There's a nice, it's like I said, it's down in a grove, so there's a nice grassy bank to rest on as well. And in the past, we've been able to pack the place and deliver some great entertainment. So I'm hoping for that this year. But Festival in the Park coming up, I'll give you more details on that as they become available to me. But I'll tell you, one of my favorite memories, and this is going to sound crazy, but this is one of my favorite memories of Festival in the Park. The family often would all work together. They would come out and they would walk around Festival in the Park. For those of you outside of Charlotte who have never attended it, it's a big arts festival. There are all forms of paintings and art and crafts and food and just it's a gathering of different forms. Everything from porcelain to wood to one of my best acquaintances has a pottery business. They make unique things out of pottery-wise, just beautiful, beautiful pieces. But the family was out, and some of them performed. Braden was touching base with a little bit of magic and juggling at the time. And there had been some rainstorms, and so down in our little grove, occasionally the water would gather, and then they would come and throw straw down and dry it up a little bit, and it would run off into the creek, and everything would be fine. But the whole festival is situated around an artificial lake. It's beautiful, just a beautiful place, Freedom Park in Charlotte, North Carolina. And this one year, it's got to be 9 years ago, we set up, and there's the stage, and we had a couple of good days, and it would rain in the afternoon, and that would be fine. But on the last day we were there, the Sunday as they were closing, I was watching another act on stage, and it began raining lightly. And so I stood under a tree, and it began raining heavier, and the audience kind of vanished, and the guy on stage packed his things away and was starting to take them down, and someone asked, are you done for the day? Are we going to keep trying to keep going? And I was like, no, I think I think we're done for the day. It's the last day of the festival, and it just feels like a good closer. I don't think this rain is going to let up. And in the time that it took for him to clear the stage and to move some things on, the water was ankle deep around the stage and rising because the creek had inexplicably backed up for whatever reason. And it wasn't even that hard of a rain. It was just coming down, So we grabbed our things and we moved them into the tent, and we said, well, we'll wait it out. Maybe the worst part of it will end and we'll be able to pack out, get everything, all the sound equipment, which we grabbed the sound equipment, got it, into the dry place. And there were 8 or 9 of us in this little 10 by 10 tent just waiting for the worst of the rain to get over so we could take the electronics and start packing our cars. And as we're talking, the rain, the water level comes into the tent. And in a matter of less than 5 minutes or so, it was knee deep in this tent. And so this is not getting better. So we all grabbed stuff and left the tent and started up the hill to the parking lot and got everything packed up in just a matter of minutes. But by the time the rain started slacking off, the creek had backed up so bad that the stage itself was underwater. I got up on the stage and the water was over my ankles, standing on the stage in this little grove. It's funny now. At the time, a tiny bit tragic, a tiny bit, overwhelming, an odd way to end the thing. But, the worst of times, they become stories, right? So that was Festival in the Park. But we're going to be doing that again this year, and I'm going to put the call out to local magicians, see if anybody wants to do some stage time. So keep that on your calendars. I'll give you dates in the future weeks for those of you who may be coming through Charlotte or would want to come see something like this. Wow, I forgot all about this one. Sorry. Matthews Alive. Hannibal's going to be at Matthews Alive the very first on Labor Day weekend. 2 o'clock on Saturday will be the stage show, but I'll be around doing busking and everything else then. Trying to put some joy out into this troubled world. I'm sorry if I suddenly started rambling there. Some things crossed my mind. I want to, before I close this out, before I say goodbye for this week, and by the way, this is going to be, I'm trying to make it regular. I record on Sunday nights. Try to have the podcast loaded to the Patreon page, by Monday morning. And then I distribute it out to SoundCloud and iTunes and everything else on Tuesday. I'm going to try to maintain that schedule. I think I've got a good chance of doing it. I've set everything up for most of it to be automatic in the way that I need to do it, and I'm learning as I go, of course. But it may be more, you may see more than one a week if you enjoy that kind of thing. A lot of it depends, again, on your feedback. But what I have been doing, my friends, is I have not been sharing the way that I probably should have. I want there to be more honesty in this show without being hurtful to anyone, if that makes sense. A lot of the times, through a lot of the pain that I was going through, there were things that I would keep back simply because I didn't want to spread as much pain as I was feeling out there. And I didn't want to bore you with those things. But also I was protecting other people's feelings. And while that's a good and I guess noble thing to do, I overdid it. I stayed too quiet, and there is hate and anger and meanness going out there, and I'm not going to be a part of it. I'm not going to be mean to anyone. I'm going to do my best to educate long before I start swinging fists, long before I physically get into any kind of an altercation with anyone over anything. I'm going to talk, and I'm going to try to persuade towards love, and I'm going to try to persuade towards neighborness, because we're all we've got. We, as a species, where the hell, need to be more kind, more honest, more uplifting with each other. And I cannot ask you to do that without promising to do it myself. Understand, I'm coming from way back in left field, and I ain't looking for pity on this, but I'm gonna tell you straight up. A lot of it, I am outraged, and I am offended, and I am hurt, and I am galvanized. But I'm seeing it through some pretty thick blinders, because I am 52, I am white male, and I have lived a life of privilege. I threw, ask whoever you ask, I threw everything away in my early 20s in order to perform for a living, to make people happy, to be an entertainer and a showman, and be a family man. And yeah, that's the correct order. I was, for all it is and for all it's worth and for all the honesty I can measure up, I was born to be a showman. I was born to be an entertainer. I was born to be on a stage saying what's on my heart. I volunteered to be a family man. I volunteered to be a husband. I volunteered to be a father, and that's an accurate statement. And I honest to God, it was the greatest thing ever in my life. The stage and the family. And don't take this, take it the wrong way if you want to. The family came second. After, when I'm going to go ahead and tell you, when the kids were young, when they needed me, when I was, when they were in their developmental stage and they needed educating, they came first. I put them first. I put them on equal standing with the performing. I had to make a living. I had to support them. I had to be out there building my career. I did it for me. I did it for my own heart, and I did it for the very art of doing it. But at the same time, I was negotiating higher fees. I was getting paid what I was worth so that I could support and nurture my children, my family, my wife, myself. But when they got grown, when they became adults themselves, they were no longer the priority. They could fend for themselves. They could go out because they were raised and educated and shown love and shown self-reliance. I trusted and had faith in them that they could make it in the world on their own. And they've done me proud. But in that shift, and it may look selfish and narcissistic, the entertainment part became more important, and now it's everything. I've lost my family. I chose this over that. If you get right down to the bare nuts of it, I chose, you choose me or you choose the stage, babe. It's the stage, it's the people, it's the giving. And while those words never actually, that's not something she actually said. It came down to, there are people you can talk to and people you can't talk to. Here's a list of people that shouldn't come to your show anymore. No. My doors are open. And if you are filled with hatred and anger towards a group of people, a religion, a skin color, if you look down your nose, I hesitate to say, come feel the joy. Come feel some truth. Come to a place where you'll be accepted. Come and hear that we're all, we're all equal. We're all one in my place, in my house of love. I'm going to try to educate you. I'm going to try to show you a better way. I won't listen to hatred, and I won't listen to, I will not listen to that kind of speech. I won't listen to it. I won't hear it. I know it's a lie. I'm old enough to know it's a lie. And I'm going to be working behind the scenes against you. By the way, I am writing my congressman. I am contacting my senators. I am doing the grassroots level of things beyond speaking out from the stage and speaking out from here. Your hatred will not be tolerated. It will not, as long as I'm able to fight against it, I'm going to fight against it. But I'm going to do it in healthy ways. I'm going to make sure, at least from as hard as I can, that love is spoken louder and more virulently than hate. If you bring 10 people, I'm bringing 100. I'm bringing 1,000. I will speak truth, and I will speak it loudly over lies. I got a voice, and I'm going to use it. I have a gift, and it would be criminal for me not to stand up against your ideology. I don't hate you. Understand this. I don't hate you. I won't hate a person. I'll hate the things you say, and I'll hate the ideology, and I will mourn for the child you were who got taught the wrong things. And I will stand up against those things. But I'm going to show you love in the way that I do it. I hope that makes sense. God, it made sense in my head before I said it. I hope it comes across the way that I mean it to. But I love you all. And we've got each other. And there's power in loving one another. So do that instead. And do that instead. And or you could love. Okay? You with me? I think I've said what I needed to say. I think I've gotten this week's diatribe out. If not, I'll be back in a couple of days with stuff that I forgot. Help someone that needs helping. Reach out to someone that deserves. You know what? Reach out to someone that doesn't deserve. Be a friend. Be love. Be the love that you need to have to somebody else. You may hear me say that again and again and again on here, and if it gets redundant, then all you got to do is turn on any given podcast and you'll hear the same words. I'll keep you up with what's going on. I'll tell you my stories. And I'll tell you again, I need your help. Patreon.com/magicartist. Become a subscriber to my YouTube channel. Become a patron to my Patreon channel. Help me get the word out that I need to get out. I'm relying on you. I am 100% like I have when I started this. And one of the things that Ted and I had to talk about. Yep, still talking. How about that? Tried to wrap it up. Didn't happen. One of the things that I talked to Ted about when he stopped doing what he was doing is the fact that I threw myself out in faith. My faith has shifted and changed over the years as to what I believe in and what I observe. But I was created to do this. I was created to do magic tricks. I was created to do card tricks and talk to people and change lives and save lives and decide that at 52 years old I had something to say over the airwaves and start a podcast and start blogging more often than I do. And the messages that I put out in the Genie column that I write for Genie magazine, the hope and the inspiration and the scolding that sometimes I do in those pages, it's all relevant. It all comes from my heart, and I mean everything that I say. If I offend you, call me on it. If I say something you don't believe to be truth, call me on it. Send me a note, send me a message. You'll get a voice, unless you're preaching absolute hate. Call me on my mistakes, and I will cop to them if I feel it's legitimate. I will. This is who I am, and I'm going to screw up. And I have worried for a long time about, I put out a lot in public, and I put a lot of my pain out in public, and I know that it cost me jobs. And I had a client who was dead straight honest with me who said, I'm worried about hiring you because you seem so far down, I'm not entirely sure you're going to be around for the show that I'm putting you for. And it was a big wake-up call to me. And he took faith in me, and I went and did the show, and I kicked ass, and they're going to use me again. I proved myself. I came back from the edge. But I've worried for way too long that something that I say or something that I put out on the blog or something that I put out on Facebook is going to offend someone who could possibly hire me. And I'm not going to do that anymore. I had a Christian-based group who wanted to use me for speaking, who we talked at length about how I could benefit them and how their company could benefit me and how we were going to do some work together. And they asked me to clean up a few things about what I did and to change the image a little bit of what I did online. And I did it. And I still didn't get hired. I still didn't get in with the in crowd. I still didn't, I didn't quite measure up to their standards. And so it just didn't happen. And and my attitude, my perspective on it is, I'm a righteous man. I'm a good guy. I help people, and I'm not going to change my image, my perspective. I'm not going to change who I am in the hopes that I'll make more money. It's just it's a deal breaker. It's a this is who I am, and I'm going to and I'm not so stuck up that I recognize that there are things about myself that need improving. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about genuine heart, saying what I mean, putting it out into the world because I was born to put it out in the world and be myself. And I want to tell you, if you've listened this far, God bless you for listening this far, because I feel like this is probably the most disjointed podcast I've put out so far. But if you're still listening, you have something for somebody else. You have something that somebody out there is dying to hear. Write it down. Get your words on paper. Type it on a screen. Write a song. Create a dance. Sew a costume. But put your heart into it. Put your soul into it. Paint a painting. Sit down at the piano. Compose something. Make a meal for somebody. Do what it is your hands are meant to do. And improve the world around you. Meet your neighbors. And we're all neighbors, right? Reach out. Do the thing you were meant to do. Do the thing you were made to do. And do it harder than you've been doing it. Because the world needs you to do that thing. I need you to do that thing just as much as you need me to do the thing that I'm doing. And I'm here, and I'm staying here as long as I can. And I'll do card tricks, and I'll tell stories, and I'll lie to you, and I'll bring the truth out as I'm lying to you. I'm going to be in Charlotte for, another 5 months? Let's have lunch. Let's have dinner. Let's sit down on a ridiculous couch and talk. Let's meet across a table and tell truths and tell lies to each other. Let's laugh. Let's raise our glasses in joy. Let us plot and be divisive, against and separate hate from people. Let's kill the fascist spirit. I'm not calling for violence. I'm saying let's kill the fascist spirit that seems to wanting to rise in my country right now. A friend has asked me to participate in a non-violent exercise. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play the role of a street Nazi, of someone spewing the words and hurtful thoughts of people they might encounter on the street at any given time, whether during a protest or an anti-protest, or just walking down the street, and how to deal with those kinds of things in a non-physical kind of a way. I'm going to get in their faces and put my finger in their faces and not not physically touch or hurt anyone, but we're going to exercise how to meet with those things, how to confront those things in a non-physical way. And I'm going to be playing the heavy because I got a voice, and I've got acting chops, and I'll put my heart into it, and my heart's going to need healing afterwards. But organize something like that amongst your friends. Learn how to deal with things in a non-physical sort of way, and learn how to educate, and learn how to, learn how to spread joy, and learn how to give love, however it takes. Love by any means necessary. That's all I'm saying. Thanks for listening. Please, please, please send me your feedback, good or bad, whatever you really think. I want to know your heart. I want to know the truth. Tell me what you think. I'll listen to it. Next week, right? I'll meet you back here. And wherever you are, whoever you are, I hope there's love where you are.
Sitting on the corner, staring down the street, whoa, making funny faces at the people we don't meet, whoa, whoa, holding out our pockets for all the world to see, whoa, singing our old songs, busking you and me, whoa, whoa, whoa. It's funny how they always seem to wanna get away from you. Just throw a little money and say, hey man, now do just what you do. You sing a little anthem and answer, hey man, I am. Just a little more dough and I'll show you where I stand. That's the plan, ain't life grand? Raking in the quarters, nickels, and the dimes of woe. Just breathing and dreaming and passing by the time of woe. Whoa. Thinking of the past and what we live for, then whoa. And where we're living now, our worries in the winter, whoa. 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 It's funny how she always seems to wanna get away from you. She calls you honey in the jar, but when she's out, you're glue. Lord, it's true. You put your axe up in the case and then you ease her making haste for the dough. Then you bust it to the corner, get your busking all in order for the show. On the road, here we go. Stealing time from boredom, busk away the day, whoa. I dream of records of gold every time I play, whoa, whoa. Days turn into weeks and weeks are into years, whoa. We live for the fans and making music in their ears, whoa, whoa, whoa. Sorry. Oh, it's so ridiculous. Okay. No, I think I'm good.